A new study found that AI does not reduce work, it intensifies it. So that's a very interesting take, right? Because we all thought, hey, I'm going to use AI, it's going to save my time, I'm automating things I do. So what happened there? So this study was done between April and December last year, and they have studied how generative AI tools changed work habits at a tech company, right? To do the study, they did in-person observations twice a week, and they also monitored and tracked internal communication channels, and then did in-depth interviews with 40 people from different teams like engineering, product design, research, and operation. And just a side note, the company that was used for the study did not mandate AI use, which is very interesting because you think, oh, this happened because the company asked employees to use AI. It didn't. All the company did was offer enterprise subscription to commercially available AI tools. So they made it accessible. Employees were excited and they started adopting using AI on their own initiative. They felt they can do more, they can take on more tasks that are outside of their scope because they can use AI. And I think the problem with adopting new trends is the side effects are not clear at the beginning, right? Like you see the benefits, and that's why everyone starts adopting it, but you don't realize what are the negative side effects until further down the line. So the study found that once the excitement fades, trying a new tool and you're excited about it and it's helping you, but once this excitement fades, employees realize that they have expanded their workloads and they've stretched themselves thin and created what we can call as workload creep, right? And it led to cognitive fatigue, burnout, weekend decision making, which you don't want to work on your weekend, or some people don't some of the time. So the productivity surge that they enjoyed at the beginning can actually start giving way to lower quality work, turnover because employees feel like they're burned out, and other problems. So what happened? What exactly happened? And what was the impact of employees voluntarily adopting AIs? First thing happened, task expansion. People voluntarily took on more tasks. Even some tasks that they took may have belonged to others. For example, product managers and designers started vibe coding, right? And people just across the organization started doing work they would have outsourced, deferred, or hired someone even to do. Here's my comment on this part. I think the core problem with AI tools is they give you the impression that you can do what other people in other roles than yourself have been trained and built experience over time to do. You think you can code, right? Pretty much and do the same tasks or handle things others were handling that you were not trained or don't have experience in. And that's the problem. It gives you that impression, and that's not very accurate. And we're going to see why. Obviously, task expansion, people took on more tasks, they felt they can do more, and they enjoyed it as well because it reduced dependency on others. So imagine if you're an SEO and you worked at that organization, imagine being able to write code the changes you want and push them live on the back end without having to go through engineering, right? That may sound, or even just push them on staging. That may sound like, hey, that sounds great. Is it? And then, so obviously, what happened? Workers increasingly absorbed work, right? A lot work. And then came the knock on effects. Engineers, for example, they had to spend more time reviewing and correcting AI generated or AI assisted work produced by colleagues. They had to spend more time mentoring and coaching their coworkers that are now using AI tools to do things that are outside of the scope of their job because it gave them the impression, the tools gave them the impression that they can. It did waste a lot of people time and it also added to the workload and for those who are adopting AI, it also increased their workload automatically. People just thought they can be more productive and therefore they can take on more work. But then when you look at the big picture, the second thing that also happened, it blurred the boundaries between work and non-work. So because AI made it very easy to start a task, right? You start slipping small amounts of work here and there in moments that may have been breaks, right? Many people found themselves sending prompts during lunch, in meetings, or even if they're just waiting to load a file or something, they would prompt over time. They produced a workday with fewer natural pauses and a more continuous sense of involvement. Like you're working all the time, even if you're not, or you think you're not, like you're having lunch, but you're still prompting and you're still thinking about the task as you work with AI on it. And then third thing that happened, multitasking. And a lot of people think multitasking is great. It can be great, but the reality was continual switching of attention. So you're doing multiple things at the same time, and you're switching your attention all the time between tasks and things. So you're checking AI outputs, and then you have a growing number of open tasks. Maybe you have different agents doing different tasks. So this created a cognitive load and a sense of always juggling, even if as the work felt productive. So did it increase productivity or not? This is a discussion. But then the impact on workers is another discussion. Just to wrap up this point, so this rhythm, because people were multitasking, increased the expectations for your output. And even though you will not explicitly demanded to maintain a certain level of output, but that was visible and normalized across the organization every day. And workers noted that they were doing more at once and feeling more pressure. So, in summary, what happened is you have AI, you introduced AI, you gave your employees access to AI, and you thought this is a great thing. It may have increased productivity in certain areas, but also as a trade off, it wasted other people's time. For example, engineers having to QA, a coach, a mentor, and all these things. It also increase the cognitive load on your employees. They felt they don't have a work-life balance. They felt more pressure. It may actually increase the turnover rate. People may start leaving, or they may start producing lower quality work because they're not getting enough disconnect from work. It creeps into their weekends, creeps into their small pauses here and there during the day. So is it really productive? So the article suggested few things, right? Intentional pauses. If your organization is adopting AI, you need to educate your employees and you need to have guardrails, right, for how they use AI. And there need to be intentional pauses. People need to have very clear boundaries between work and not work times, right? And the second thing they recommend is sequence. So AI enables constant activity on the background. You're working on one task and something else is happening on the side, and it's just a few minutes, and then you will switch context and switch back and so on. So rather than reacting to every AI generated output as it appears, sequencing encourages work to advance in current phases. And you know what? It's not even just AI. Multitasking has advantages and has a lot of disadvantages in general. And if you're using AI to multitask, you need to be aware of those. And sequencing is a very good approach. And then human grounding, it's important to make sure that your team is getting opportunities to connect with others, brief check-ins, shared reflection moments, or structured dialogue, right? Like you need to interrupt this continuous solo engagement with AI tools and help restore perspective, right? I think the conclusion or the summary of this is that if you're a leader pushing for more AI usage, you need to have the proper guardrails. If you're an employee and you're voluntarily trying to use AI, make sure you are not overworking yourself because this is really going to impact the cognitive load. I hope this study shines a light on this AI rush we're having. Everyone wants to use AI. Everyone is pushing for the use of AI, but are we having the right guardrails? Yeah, I'll link to this in the description and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.